Big thanks to Moesta Barbecue for sponsoring this video.
Time to use Sprite to make pork taste better. This might sound crazy, but I came up with this idea from watching another video where they use Sprite to cook pork. And then I thought, wow, there's actually something in this idea. Because if you taste Sprite, it has, well, a very undefined flavor. It's not very specific, but there are all kinds of flavors in there that goes really well with pork. And especially if we tune it up a little bit. So I thought, we need to try this. We need to try to see if we can make Sprite taste better with pork. So I bought some Sprite and I bought some pork, and not just any pork. Iberico secreto. This stuff is absolutely amazing, and it's also known as the Wagyu version of pork. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Let's get started. Iberico secreto translates to the secret part of the Iberico pig. And it means this is the least well-known piece of pork, which actually is one of the best pieces of pork. We got beautiful lines of intramuscular fat running through the meat, giving it its pink color. And at the same time, the color of the meat is quite dark, which means it has a lot of flavor. I'm gonna trim this up, cutting it into strips alongside of the grain, which means that once we grilled and cooked it, and you have it on your plate, you're gonna cut it against the grain, creating the most delicious and tender pieces you ever had. Now it's time to start working on a marinade. It all starts with 150 milliliters of Sprite. Then we're gonna add fresh ginger, fresh garlic, some lemon juice, sugar, bay leaves, and cloves. Now we're gonna mix that up, put the pork in, and let it sit for at least 2 hours. And I decided to use the Moesta Bandit. It's a barrel pit style grill. It's awesome. You put wood right in here, light it up, and then flames are shooting out of it. What is cooler than that to roast our Sprite pork on? So let's load it up with some Kindle, put in a fire starter, and once it starts lighting up, we're gonna add more and more wood. I'm using beech tree because this is a local grown wood that works really well for open fire cooking. I got my Moesta Bandit set up. We got a good fire going and the plate's quite hot. And I also put a grill grate on top of that fire so I can put the pan on and cook our sauce in it. I'm gonna start with a little bit of sunflower oil in the pan. Then I'm gonna add 2 cloves of garlic, a stick of ginger, and a quarter of fine chopped white onion. We'll give that a minute to fry up, and then we'll start adding ketchup manis, which is another word for sweet soy sauce. And that's around 5 tablespoons, and I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of fish sauce, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 150 milliliters of Sprite. And now I'm taking the sauce off the fire and setting it aside so it can come to a slow simmer. When I start cooking on a hot cast iron plate like this, I like to put on a little bit of oil and then take an old rag, well basically it's a fresh rag, but don't tell my wife. Rub it in, make sure that everything's nice and non-stick. And now at the same time you can see the heat that's on this cast iron plate, because some of the spots it instantly starts smoking and you know it's crazy hot over there. Other spots, there's no smoke, so you know that's probably more of a safe zone to be grilling on. There we go. First piece on. Beautiful, beautiful piece of Iberico. Let's get a quick sear on first and check it out, see how fast it's going. Now you can definitely see this is going way too fast. So I'm moving it to the outside, giving it a little bit more time to build up the crust. Now that is way better. Look at that beautiful crust. This is what I want to see. I want to see a slow bubbly simmer on the bottom, rendering down the fat, building up the crust. That's going to make the meat flavorful and crusty on the outside while keeping it juicy on the inside. You can see that the sauce is beautifully thick. It's nice and sugary, almost like a caramel. This is absolutely perfect because that's going to help it stick to the meat. And not every piece needs the same amount of time to cook. So now I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put on the sauce. I'm going to make sure that I get a little bit of it on every one piece of these beautiful iberico secretos. It looks absolutely insane. What I love about iberico secreto is that it's always juicy in the inside because there's so much fat in it. Now let's give this a try.
That makes you happy. Holding cut of the most highest quality pork in the world.
It's not the type of flavor that punches you in the mouth, but it is extremely delicious. It's like a really mild, but really tasty flavor. It is oddly satisfying. That's what this is.
I really underestimated you. Sorry, Sprite. In my mind, the Coca-Cola is the most amazing thing, the most used soda in cooking. But I think that the Sprite has to offer more. Way more.
It's not like anything else. You can't compare this to anything. The flavor of the Sprite is really on this pork. Of course it is. But by adding more flavors to it, we boosted and elevated the flavors, making it seriously a good ingredient to combine with pork.
It's amazing. This sauce goes so well together with pork. If you're a pork lover, you gotta try this. So see the recipe down below, click on it, go to the website.
More sauce, more dipping, more sauce. Maybe we should celebrate the Sprite.
Woo!
You want to do the real comparison, like can I really taste it? So,
It does something to it.
Sprite and ginger go so well together.
I think it's more like the combination. It's like a golden lock sauce. I can't wait to make this at home and just go wild on that sauce and that pork and then add some noodles or something.
Let me give you a piece of that sauce, which is now turned into candy.
No, that's candy.
Oh, I told you.
That's
it's like
candy.
the ultimate
That's
candy.
amazing. So what do you need for this recipe? How much Sprite did you use?
2 cans.
I'm gonna get 2 cans right now.
Well, Morrison is on his way to get Sprite, which we're not sponsored by Sprite anyway. Check out the video. It's freaking awesome. The next video is gonna be so good. You don't want to miss out on it. And if you don't have time, just make time. You know, just hide somewhere. Go to the toilet. Just go sit there. That's the best way to do it. It's Magnus. Goodbye. Thanks everyone.